Hello, Shepherd's Light community. How are you? Pastor Randy here. Today, I am actually going to put this out early in the morning because I decided that I'm going to talk about the book of Numbers because we start the book of Numbers today in the daily reading. And sometimes it's such a hard book because it starts out with all these numbers and you're just like, oh, really? All these numbers? Yes. There's a bunch of numbers, and I'm not a number person. Pastor Rick's a number person. I am not. So sometimes it can be a little difficult for those of us that are just like, what is this? But let this thought happen that God counted everyone, and everyone was very important to him. And there was numbers there for a reason. And lots of times when he counted these numbers, at least in some of the books, not so much here, but in Nehemiah and Ezra, he mentions the believers. Like, that's the genealogy he takes. And we need to know our genealogy. We need to know our numbers, our background, because it's all through the Bible. Like, he takes note and census and counts those who believe, those that don't believe. He knows everybody. And this proves that he knows everybody by how many times he counts in the Old Testament. He's like forever like figuring out, making sure. It's like if you have a big farm, one thing, and every once in a while I've helped with someone's farm and they got quite a bit of cows. One thing you do is you go and you count all the cows to make sure they're all there. When you got a lot of sheep, you count all the sheep to make sure they're all there. You do a count because you want to make sure your flock's there, they're safe, nothing's got a hold of it. Your chickens, you want to make sure nothing's gobbled them up. No, there's no sickness, there's no disease. So when you have animals, that's what you do, is you count them. My garden, I'm always counting my plants to make sure I have the amount that I count them with the anticipation that they multiplied. Because we are to be fruitful and we are to multiply, and I just expect my garden to be fruitful and multiplying daily. So I count my plants. I want to make sure I have enough, that there's enough there. And then it's like, should I plant more? What happened to them? Is there something I gotta adjust? Do I have a bug in here? Do I have is there mold? Is there disease? Like, you got to keep track of what you have because that's part of caring for it when you're gardening or when you have animals or a large amount. God's the same way. He counts. He wants to know, like, okay, is something going on? Am I losing them? Where are they going? And so when you're thinking of numbers, and you're reading them, and it might feel boring to you, just know there's a reason for it, and God loves you, and he wants to make sure all of us are accounted for, and he's counting us. He's making sure each of us are accounted for, and each of us have accountability. And he was like, okay, I want to make sure they're still here. Are they still with me? Where are they at? Like, that's what God's doing. He's watching. He's our shepherd, watching over the sheep, counting them to make sure no one got lost, no one disappeared. And you can't make sure everyone's there if you don't count them, right? You got to count them first to make sure they're all there. They're all accounted for, right? So he makes sure we're all accounted for. But the book of Numbers can be very interesting if you can get past the whole numbers part of it and realize that it's actually 38 years of history of Israel. 38 years. It's the fourth book of the Torah, or the Parsha, however you say that. And it means in the wilderness in Hebrew. In the wilderness. So they were out in the wilderness. Moses wrote this and wrote 40 years of his life is written in this book, and he's actually the author. In this book, though, it shows us that God is faithful, God's faithfulness and his provision and deliverance. So he's very faithful. He provides, he delivers us no matter what. He's there for us. He's our Father. He's our Abba, our Daddy. And to relate his deliverance and to relate his law, right? He's faithful and giving us his law. Like, this is my rules. This is my foundation. This is what I expect out of you. He gives us his expectations, and he doesn't hide them. I mean, are we giving others our expectations, our spouses, our children, our employers, our employees? Like, what do you expect? What's your expectations? Because God lays them out in the law. And this law, which prepares Israel to maintain the covenant relationship with the Lord. It's to maintain a covenant relationship with the Lord and to fulfill being God's people in the midst of an ungodly world, to be set apart, to be righteous. So we are separated. We look different. It's to fulfill the look of being God's people in the midst of an ungodly world, because we live in an ungodly world. We are to be in the world, not of the world. Remember? Well, this book also gets, even though it shows us how to live separately, a separate life, to be righteous, to live in the ungodly world and still be godly, even though it isn't, to prepare us for the covenant and to show us how he provides and delivers us. This book has a lot of grumbling and complaining in this book, and a lot of discontent. And remember, what did Paul say? Be content in all things. They were very discontent. They were very grumbling, very, very complaining and grumbling. And we know God doesn't like complaining and grumbling. It's one of the things he hates. It's like on the hate list. I know we're not supposed to hate anything. That's such a strong word. But it's on God's list. He does not like grumbling and complaining. And they were grumbling and complaining. God delivered them so many times, and they still grumbled and complained. God gave them manna, and they're like, ew, like we've been eating this for how many days? Like, why are we still just eating this? I'm so tired of this. Can I have something else? And they, they look at God as a five-star restaurant, and he's like, hey, I've been feeding you. Like, you're to be content no matter what. You don't even have to go do anything. I'm just giving it to you, and you're complaining. How many times do we give people stuff and they complain? I mean, there's so many times I've tried helping people and they complain because it's not what they wanted. And this is how they were in this book. It's not what they wanted. So they complain, but it was what I was able to give them, which you could make it work. Example is, if I tell you can use my composter because you're having a hard time struggling buying garbage bags or whatever, I might not be able to get rid of your trash for you, but I helped the best I could and gave you what I was able to. Sometimes we gotta utilize that and use the composter and compost what we can, put it in there, and then God will provide and will open another door up. We just gotta use and utilize and take advantage of what he gave us, right? Sometimes we think we need a job that we make $10,000 an hour, but he gives us a job that we make $10,000 a year. God, we just got to trust him and know, like, okay, it might not be what we wanted, but you provided for me, God. And I got to be content in all things. And I might be starting here at this $10,000 job, but before I'm finished, I'm going to be making $10,000 an hour, not $10,000 a year. Because that's how God is. He provides and he delivers us. We just have to be content in all things. And in this book, this was not what was happening. And as a result, only 3 men survived to the end. Moses, Joshua, and Caleb. Everyone else, taken out. See ya, gone, bye. But it was these 3 that made it all the way to the end. And then then Moses didn't make it into the promised land because he was the one held accountable for everyone. And so Joshua and Caleb were the only 2 that got to enjoy the promised land. And it's just amazing. Joshua actually ended up succeeding Moses, he was the successor. He's the one that like took over. But Joshua and Caleb, when they were sent in to be the spies, to see if they could take that land, everyone else was like, nope, nope. They were negative, grumbling, complaining. But these two claimed the land. They claimed it. They claimed they would possess the land. And what's it say? What's Joshua 1:3? I shall possess all the land that I shall possess the land that I tried my feet on, or something like that. The land that I tried my feet, I will possess. It's something, I don't know. I'm paraphrasing it. So I didn't say it by verbatim. But where my feet tread, I will possess the land. That's what Joshua says later on in the book of Joshua. But those two were like, yes, we can get this land. We're going to do it. And they're the ones that ended up having it. They claimed it. See how our words have power? Our words have power. This is why, and we confess so much in this ministry. Like, we're big on confession. We believe in confession. We believe we should confess the promise of God upon our lives daily. We should look in the mirror and say, hey, I am a child of God. I am a new creation. I am saved. I am redeemed. I am forgiven. I'm unique. I'm loved. This is things we should be claiming. I mean, even in my garden, I walk over and I'm like, my baskets are going to be overflowing. I'm going to have a bountiful harvest. Walking over my garden, speaking life over the garden. This is how we need to speak life over over ourselves. But these two spoke it because our words have power. Confession has power. What we confess comes to life, right? We bring it, we confess it, we manifest it. And then when we manifest it into existence. And this is what they did. They're like, no, we got this. This is ours. We can do this. And it ended up being theirs. And they were the only two that enjoyed it. Pretty interesting. So hang in there. This book might seem bland. It might be it's repetition. It might seem hard to read. It's not. And I haven't encouraged like all the books, but I'm encouraging this one because I know this one could be a make it or break if you hang in there with the daily reading. I know this book could be a make it or break if you continue reading this whole entire book. But hang in there. It's okay. It's a good book. Look at it as like a history book for those of you that like history. This is a good one. And those of you who just need to pick me up, look at it as like God's going to provide and deliver you no matter what. It's all how you look at this book. It's not as boring as you think it is. So hang in there, read the book of Numbers, and don't worry, we're only in there for a short period of time. But it's a book that you don't want to skip. Remember, God likes numbers, and He doesn't skip. Everything is accounted for. So this book is also should be accounted for in your reading. So stay with it, read it, get the best you can out of it, and hang in there. And I will see you Sunday at church. Don't forget. And hang in there. Keep doing your daily reading. If you're not, start now. We're starting a whole new book. It's a good time to start. And I will see y'all later. Love you. Have a blessed day.